Today we are off to explore St. Augustine, which is one of our personal favorite cities in Florida. We're going to celebrate our 7-year marriage anniversary, which I'm just so immensely thankful and looking forward to celebrating. We booked this cozy bed and breakfast, so we'll be staying for one night and then our anniversary is tomorrow, so we'll take the day to explore and reminisce and all of that good stuff. But we love St. Augustine because it's so incredibly beautiful. It's known for its Spanish colonial architecture, which is stunning, and it just sort of feels like it takes you back in time a bit. It actually is the oldest continuously occupied European settlement in the continental US. So it was actually originally founded way back in 1565 by a Spanish admiral, and they built the Castillo de San Marcos, which we'll take you to tomorrow, share more history then, but they built that to defend Spanish Florida. So again, it is so rich with history, but then also delicious food, coffee, stunning beaches. So I'm excited to take you along for the adventure. Our first stop of the trip was to enjoy brunch at the ice plant. This is absolutely one of our favorite places to eat. It's a restored power and ice plant from the early 20th century, and they transformed it into a fabulous restaurant, cocktail bar, and distillery, which they do offer free tours of the distillery, which is quite interesting to see the art of it all, and we absolutely recommend enjoying a meal here. The house-made pimento cheese and garlic bread is a must order in our opinion. We then drove over to our bed and breakfast, the St. Francis Inn, and this inn is so cozy and historic. It actually dates back to 1791, so they claim the title of the city's very oldest inn. There are 19 different rooms and suites within the inn and some cozy common spaces to enjoy. Made it to our room, the balcony room, and it is simply cozy. I'm just in love with this do not disturb needlepoint hanger. It's so cute. We have a fireplace for ambiance. It's not an actual heated fireplace, but we appreciate the ambiance immensely. And the way the sun is just shining into this room right now is dreamy, dreamy, dreamy. We were joking a second ago that this place is probably haunted, but you know. Oh my goodness, look at the bathtub, jacuzzi, cozy bed, and then we have this really nice balcony. Oops. That wraps around basically the whole room. And we also can see the water down there, way at the end.
Sing me a sweet song.
Brandon found us a bit of history regarding the inn. Just around the corner from St. Augustine's picturesque oldest house, we find what is unquestionably St. Augustine's oldest inn. Dating from 1791, embodies the rich history and culture of the nation's oldest city, and visitors are invited to delve into the stories that comprise its colorful past. There's also a pool at the inn, which doesn't get much use this time of year, but I'm sure is quite busy in the summer months.
From where you are.
After settling in a bit, we strolled over to the more central downtown area of St. Augustine, which is just a few blocks away from our bed and breakfast, and we passed so many gorgeous homes along the way. And even just walking the side streets of St. Augustine, it is unavoidable not to stumble across some sort of history, and there's so many beautiful architectural details to enjoy.
Sounding of the morning dove that calls you away. I'll be awaiting messages from afar.
We popped into the Kookaburra and shared a chai. This is one of our favorite places to people watch. It's a little tradition we have every time we visit. They actually moved locations a couple doors down, and they have a much bigger spot now. After people watching a bit, we popped back over to the inn to pick up our car. That's another great thing about staying at the bed and breakfast, is that there's parking at the inn, because sometimes parking can be a little tricky, and most of the streets near the downtown area, you will need to pay for parking. This time of year is a lot quieter. One of the most popular times to visit St. Augustine is during the holiday season, because they have this gorgeous light display called the Nights of Lights. So things are definitely slowing down later in January, which is nice. We crossed the Bridge of Lions to make our way over to St. Augustine Beach to enjoy the sunset. And oh my goodness, I am so glad we carved out time for this.
From where you are.
It was quite quiet at the beach because it was such a chilly day, but wow, we were in for such a treat. We were admiring the glow of the sunset. Since St. Augustine is on the East Coast, you don't see the sunset over the horizon, but I still always appreciate the ombre pastel colors of sunset. And little did we know that the moon would start rising right before our eyes over the horizon, the full moon, not even just any moon, the full moon, and it absolutely took our breath away. It was extraordinary, to say the least. For dinner, we went to Bia's Fine Foods, which is just down the road from the pier on the way back to downtown St. Augustine. This place was so cozy and delicious. It is actually the sister restaurant of the Floridian, which is one of our favorite local restaurants. They are currently in the process of building a new location, so I'm thankful we have Bia's in the meantime. We ended up ordering the beet poke, which was a recommendation from our waiter. It's not something we would normally order because we're not the biggest fan of beets, but wow, it was so unique and actually really delicious. We also enjoyed the fresh catch of the day and then headed back to our bed and breakfast for dessert.
Somebody order brownies?
Sure did. He's loving this in life. Good morning. We are feeling refreshed and excited to explore. Last night was incredible, watching the full moon rise over the water. We weren't expecting that, and it was extraordinary because of course the sun sets on the west coast of Florida, but we still love to see the sunset on the east coast because the colors of the sky, the ombre effect is just glorious. But getting to witness the moon rising over the horizon, over the ocean water, that is just one of the most special moments ever. Truly, it was extraordinary. So very thankful for that. And then we had a beautiful breakfast, a beautiful dessert last night, beautiful breakfast this morning, and now we're ready to explore. We're gonna go to another coffee shop. We're always scheming on how we can visit the most coffee shops in one little trip. So we're gonna go to one of our spots that we usually hit up while we're here, and then go to the Castillo de San Marcos. So I'm very excited for a beautiful, sunny, chilly day in St. Augustine.
Historic St. Augustine is truly a treasure trove for interesting sights. A couple notable destinations are the Lightner Museum and Flagler College. The Lightner Museum was originally the Alcazar Hotel, which was a luxurious Gilded Age resort originally built by Henry Flagler, and it closed during the Great Depression and was abandoned for many years until it was transformed into a museum by Otto Lightner. Flagler College is a private liberal arts school, which was formerly Hotel Ponce de Leon, which was also built by Henry Flagler, and the college campus is now a National Historic Landmark due to the rich history and incredible architecture. Naturally, you aren't able to explore all nooks and crannies of Flagler College because this is an operating campus, but they do offer tours and you're able to explore certain sections. For our next coffee of the day, we went over to Relampago Coffee Lab and picked up a couple lattes to keep us warm as we continue to stroll around. St. George Street is the heart of historic downtown St. Augustine. This is where you'll find lots of different shops, numerous buildings of architectural significance, and delicious spots to eat. You'll notice throughout my vlog there are multiple clips of these trolley cars. The old tour trolley is a classic way to explore the city. I actually don't know if I've ever experienced it. Maybe on our 4th grade field trip. If you are an Orange County, Florida kid, you will remember the 4th grade field trip to St. Augustine. I wonder if they still do it. I'm not sure, but that's probably when I first fell in love with historic St. Augustine. That's one of those field trips that's forever ingrained in my memory. We grabbed a little snack from Whip's Waffle, which is a new to us spot. We've never enjoyed their waffles before, but it was quite tasty. The oldest wooden schoolhouse in the USA is another notable spot on St. George Street. time to explore Castillo de San Marcos. Typically, we just walk around the fort and enjoy the views of the water, but we decided to actually go within the fort this time. It had been years and years for both of us since we last went in the fort, so it was exciting. And if you have a National Parks Pass, you actually receive admission into the fort included with your National Parks Pass. One of the most mind-boggling aspects of the fort in my eyes is how it is virtually cannonball-proof. The fort was constructed with coquina, which is a durable, porous, and sedimentary limestone that's composed of ancient compressed shell fragments in sand, making it so incredibly strong. I'm just in awe that it's withstood so much time, hurricanes, and wars. Throughout the Castillo's history, it changed ownership 6 times without ever being taken by force because of its advanced coquina construction. It virtually was invulnerable to contemporary cannon fire, which meant it was never breached in battle. Instead, it was always transferred via treaties. But of course, this was certainly not a peaceful place. And during the 19th century, the U.S. Army used the fort to imprison Native Americans. Within one of the stone arches of the fort, you can still make out the outline of an Apache fire spirit created by an Apache prisoner in 1886.
Which is a sobering reminder of the violence throughout history. Within each vaulted arch within the fort, you will find different parts of history highlighted, and you'll get a better sense of what life was like during these times.
The fort was officially transferred to the National Park Service in 1933 and hopefully will serve as a historic monument for the rest of time. It made us giggle to see ice on the ground near the fort because that is a rare sighting in Florida, but that's how chilly it was on this day. Off to our next cup of coffee, we stopped into Myth and Legend. I believe this is a newer spot, so it was fun to check out. We were just in the mood for some black coffee, but I'm excited to try some of their specialty drinks next time. We then perused the shops on St. George Street, including the Shell shop, which is always so fun to browse around in. For lunch, we crossed the bridge again over to Osprey Tacos. This was a delicious and efficient spot to grab some fuel before heading over to the Lighthouse. Our bed and breakfast stay actually included tickets to the Lighthouse, and this is another one of our favorite spots. We actually visited last July with our son, and it was a really sweet family day, but a note, if you are traveling with children, there is a height requirement of 44 inches or taller to climb the tower. The lighthouse is still an active aid to navigation, and the light is visible 20 miles offshore, and it's one of the few remaining lighthouses still open to the public. So it feels really special that you're able to make the journey up the spiral staircase and enjoy the views of St. Augustine from the top of the lighthouse. It was neat because from the top of the lighthouse, we were able to see the general vicinity of where we actually went camping the previous weekend, because we camped at Anastasia State Park, which is right on Anastasia Island. So that was fun to kind of see a bird's eye view of where we set up our campsite. After the lighthouse, Brandon had a very sweet idea of stopping by Southern Horticulture, which is a local nursery, and he treated me to some flowers. He thought I would enjoy this even more than a bouquet of flowers, which he was absolutely right, because now they can live in our garden indefinitely. Oh, and we also grabbed a delicious afternoon sweet treat from Mayday Ice Cream.
Side by side we sway there in all the colors. Summer love.
This little 30-hour trip turned into quite the history tour because we ended up stopping at Fort Matanzas. We had never checked it out before, so we figured we would give it a look. And to actually visit the fort, you take a National Parks Service ferry over to the site, which I believe is free, but you need to book it ahead of time. But you're still able to see the fort from a distance. And this fort was also built by the Spanish between 1740 and 1742. And it was built to serve as the last line of defense because St. Augustine was vulnerable via the Matanzas River.
Stop giving back. Honeysuckle, fresh cut grass. I could really use some stuff like that. Talk to me and
We're back home after a phenomenal weekend. I'm already showered, ready for bed.
Nice.
We had such an adventure. We were just talking about our favorite parts, and we both had the same highlight. There were many highlights, but the moon. The moon was just
Yeah.
blowing us
That
away.
was unreal.
And the sunset in general, but then with the moonrise, just like the timing of it was such a monumental milestone of 7 years of marriage, and the beach is just so beautiful there. So
Yeah, and it was fun that it wasn't like we had no idea. It was just
Yeah.
serendipitous. And then
Serendipitous.
I was just saying, the event in and of itself was awesome and just incredible to witness. But then just how excited you were and just like childlike
giddy.
giddiness was
I was
really
giddy.
precious and made me very happy to see.
Yeah, yeah, and we did so much today. Lighthouse.
Yeah,
Castillo de San
how we used to
Marcos.
travel.
Yeah, we used
That
to
was
go,
fun.
go.
I
'cause
said that was my second favorite, which is like all of today and just
going to
kinda
3 coffee shops. Like how many?
crazy.
I guess just 2, but
2 today.
we had
Yeah,
coffee
yesterday.
at our
We did.
bed and breakfast. So
We did.
that's how
Some
we
new
eat.
places,
Fueled through.
so-
It was beautiful, beautiful time. I
You're-
hope you enjoyed this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. Excited to see you next. Bye.
Bye.